Leaders and in all were in some local government to the administration drawing more worldly with peace on the happen.
Primary School Irowo in Akure for a meeting which centered on how to consolidate on the gains of the present administration in the Sunshine State. Some leaders and members of the party, including Professor Olu Aderounmu, former lawmaker Sunday
rather than using that as an excuse to, persecute or to, be fighting anybody, he has taken it so maturely.
The chairman of APC in the council area, Mr. Fesobi Akimolayan, who thanked the governor for changing the narrative of governance positively, urged more support for his administration. Governor Lucky Aiyedatiwa, who thanked the people for the show of love and support for his administration, promised not to lower the bar of inclusive and impactful governance, represented by the Secretary to the State Government, Temitayo Oluwatui. The governor reassured of his commitment to advancing the state.
Akure has never had it so good. For example, all the roads, all the project that is going on in Akure, he has instructed all the contractors to go back to site and continue, irrespective of the fact that he don't know who started it, but he said the good legacies that our former governor left must continue. So it's not discriminative of Akure South, and we know what we are gaining by his appointments.
The event also featured a special prayer for the success of the Aiyedatiwa administration. Wahab Bankole, Osrc News.
Now to stories on the International Women's Day celebration. The governor of Ondo State, Lucky Aiyedatiwa, has reiterated his administration's commitment to continue its deliberate investment in women's programs in line with the theme of the 2024 International Women's Day. The governor, who was represented by His Deputy Olaide Adelani, spoke while celebrating the International Women's Day with Ondo State women in Akure. He said his government will continue to deliver programs that benefit women in Ondo State, stressing that women have a lot of roles to play for the society to achieve the much desired progress. According to him, investing in women is not just a question of moral obligation. It is an economic and social demand. He added that investment in women is the same as investment in the prosperity of generations yet unborn. The governor promised that his administration will continue to grant women equal access to all available opportunities, support women-owned businesses, and break barriers that tend to impede women's progress in the state. The Ondo State government has reaffirmed its commitment to creating an all-inclusive and equitable society where all women, irrespective of their background, will thrive. The governor, Lucky Aiyedatiwa, spoke at this year's International Women's Day celebration in Accra, the Ondo State capital. Government House correspondent Zimo Ebiedi covered the event as the reporter.
International Women's Day is a global day celebrating the social, economic, cultural and political achievements of women. The day also marks a call to action for accelerating gender parity. The International Women's Day celebration with the theme Invest in Women, Accelerate Progress was celebrated with fanfare in Akure. Addressing the gathering, the Ondo State Governor, Lucky Aiyedatiwa, represented by his deputy, Dr. Olayide Adelami, assured women of government commitment in their development. The governor said his administration would continue to invest in women in all spheres of life and ensure equal access to available opportunities.
Women empowerment through education, employment, entrepreneurship, and leadership opportunities always have ripple effect from which everyone benefits. When women thrive, economies prosper, and the societies flourish. It is through consistent, strategic, and sustained investment in women that we can unlock their potential and accelerate progress towards gender equality. In light of the above assertion, I assure you that our administration shall continue with our deliberate investment in women in all spheres of life. We all ensure equal access to all available opportunities, support women-owned businesses, and break barriers that tend to impede women's progress.
Also speaking, the Yaloja General, Mrs. Folashade Tinubu-Ojo, called on the women folk to put in their best at this time when the country is facing various challenges by being committed to their families and the country at large.
To all our mothers out there, I just want to seize this opportunity of International Women's Day 2024 to appeal to all the mothers out there to give support morally by every standard, spiritually, financially, whatever role, to support the husband in order to support our home front and the society at large.
The special advisor to the governor on gender, Mrs. Olamide Falano, urged women to summon courage to bring every challenge to its knee. According to her, the present administration would continue to do everything possible for women and called on them to grab various opportunities created by the present administration.
I may go to say that Ondo has been landmark efforts according to verifiable records to give attention adequately to women empowerment and also investing in women. The state has massive investments in women education, massive investments in school enrollment. There are massive investments in the health sector. In fact, the health sector of Ondo State is seen to have a gender face because several interventions are in place to support our women.
The event featured march pasts from various women organizations from all the 18 local government areas of the state.
The Nigeria Association of Women Journalists, NAWOJ B-Zone, says there is no investment in women, that is too much are a waste. NAWOJ B-Zone, in a statement to mark the 2024 International Women's Day celebration with its theme, Invest in Women, Accelerate Progress, said investing in women will accelerate the desired progress in the nation. The statement, signed by the zone's vice chairperson, Adiola Adekule, and the zonal secretary, Adiola Adewale, added that the role of women in national development cannot be overemphasized as they are saddled with enormous tasks both at the home front and workplace. Comrade Adiola calls on the government and all relevant stakeholders to join hands and invest in women's education, healthcare, economic empowerment and leadership development to accelerate progress towards gender equality. She congratulates women on this year's celebration for their resilience and commitment towards nation building. International Women's Day was established to honor women and their resistance of oppression. Still staying with stories on International Women's Day celebration towards celebrating the importance of women to the world, a non-governmental organization aiding public health initiatives in collaboration with Association of Women Living with HIV/AIDS in Nigeria has gathered women to celebrate their 2024 International Women's Day. The event, which featured talks from various organizations, is targeted at reawakening call for women equality and inclusion. Omoshilola Adesoye completes the story.
Every 8th of March is set aside to celebrate womanhood, and in Ondo State, APIN Public Health Initiatives, in collaboration with Association of Women Living with HIV/AIDS, ASHWAN, brought women together to deliberate on the way forward for women in society. Welcoming the women, the state coordinator ASHWAN, Mrs. Catherine Agbola, encouraged women to stand up for their rights in society.
It has been a long haul, but we are glad that you and my colleague and the stakeholders are alive and here to celebrate together. What are the things we want? Number one, gender equality, women's and girls' empowerment, their right to healthier lives.
Also, the APIN State Head of Service, Dr. Folake Adurogbola, called on female gender to break all barriers and be useful for society.
If you take a woman out of a home, you take a woman out of the society, you can be very certain that that society will not really be what it should be. So we encourage women as we, commemorate the International World Women's Day today.
Others who spoke, including the representative of the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Women Affairs and Social Development, Mrs. Adeolofin, acknowledged the importance of women to societal growth and encouraged them to speak out whenever they need to.
We want women to silence at home and die silent, because when you speak out, they will hear you. When you have challenges in your home, in your office, make sure you come to women affairs.
While addressing the gathering on ways to mentor HIV-positive mothers, Dr. Abitoye and her counterpart, Ms. Adijat Suraju, who enlightened the women on gender-based violence, opined that women's collective action will make a difference.
Please, you are peculiar. Don't let anybody, women can molest women. Hope you know, not only the men, right? So don't let anybody put you under the table. We are peculiar.
We'll screen everyone who comes to the facility, as well as some key program areas such as index testing, ANC, PrEP centers, as well as the OVC program.
Some of the participants at the event expressed their readiness to get involved in all aspects of social life and help others to rise.
Those teenagers that used to get pregnant to know that they should not just stay there and feel that they are inferior, but they should try as much as possible to bring themselves out. And whatever they are facing, they should just speak out that there is help everywhere for them now.
To encourage our women that we should not be running for anything, that we should be bold, then we should depend on ourselves, that we should not maybe allow any man to maltreat us or to treat us badly.
APIN Public Health Initiative is a non-governmental organization working on the provision of prevention, care and treatment services to patients with HIV and AIDS, as well as public health communicable and other non-communicable diseases, while ASHWAN deals with care for women living with HIV and AIDS. Omoshiliola Adesoye, Osrc News.
Away from stories around the celebration of International Women's Day now to the Green Chamber of the National Assembly. The House of Representatives has called for a review of the 2024 budget projections owing to the free fall of the Naira in the past few months. In the session, the lawmakers adopted a motion moved by a member of the All Progressives Congress representing Koshofe Federal Constituency in Lagos State, Kafilat Obara, withdrew the attention of the House to fluctuating exchange rates of the Naira to the dollar. Moving the motion, Obara, who is also the House Committee Chairman on Women Affairs and Social Development, noted that the initial proposal of the federal government on the 2024 budget based on the projected 800 Naira to the dollar was no longer feasible. Following the adoption of the motion, the House mandated its committees on national planning and economic development, appropriation and finance to carry out a comprehensive assessment of the implications of the foreign exchange and the 2024 Appropriation Act and determine the method of alignment of the current foreign exchange with the approved national budget. The committees have 6 weeks to report back to the House for further legislative actions. Still staying in the National Assembly, the House of Representatives is set to approve the 200 billion naira spent on the suspended 2023 population and housing census. The resolution followed the adoption of a motion by Clement Akoni during plenary in Abuja. Moving the motion, Akoni said the immediate past administration of former President Muhammadu Buhari planned to conduct a census in 2022, but the program was later postponed to 2023. He said the former Minister of State for Budgets and National Planning, Mr. Clem Agba, said a total of 869 billion naira would be required for the exercise. The Nigerian Labour Congress has demanded 794,000 naira as the new national minimum wage for workers in the Southwest Geopolitical Zone. The Labour Union in the Southwest, through the chairperson of the Lagos State chapter of the NLC, Fumi Sesi, made a demand during their presentation at the public hearing of the Tripartite Committee on National Minimum Wage in Ikeja, Lagos. President Bola Tinubu, through Vice President Kashim Shettima, inaugurated a 37-member panel on the new minimum wage in Abuja on January 30, 2024. Sesi stated, and I quote, "The national minimum wage is an issue that directly affects the livelihood of Nigerian workers. The workers in the country deserve a living wage that would be set at a level that is fair and commensurate with the economic realities." However, the Osrc State Governor, Ademola Adeleke, who represented the Southwest governors, said the state government needed to be allowed to negotiate with workers on a sustainable minimum wage based on each state's financial peculiarities. We're due to take a break on the news at 7. We'll be back with more stories. Thank you for rejoining us on the news tonight. You can watch us live on our website www.osrc.ng or follow us on Facebook at Osrc TV and on YouTube. You can subscribe to our channel. To other stories now, the Rotary Club of Akure District 9125 has described the Governor of Ondo State, Lucky Aiyedatiwa, a leader who has raised the bar in governance with his various people-friendly programs, projects and policies since he assumed office. The president of the club, Semiu Adigun, spoke while decorating the governor for Service Above Self Award at the club's foundation luncheon and award presentation in Akure, the Ondo State capital. Government House correspondent Zimo Ediri covered the event as the report is presented from our studio.
The Rotary Club has been watching development in Ondo State for a while and has decided to honor Governor Aiyedatiwa for his leadership role and immense contribution to make Ondo State a true place of pride within the shortest time he has been at the aim of affairs.
Due to the selfless service of Mr. Governor to the state, within the shortest possible time that he was at the aim of affairs of the Sunshine State, the committee unanimously approved that an award of service above self be given to him for his remarkable commitment to the economic growth and advancement of the state. Let us clap for that.
Aiyedatiwa, who was represented by his deputy, Olajide Adelami, thanked the organizers for the honor and for recognizing the impact of his government in making lives of the people of the state more bearable.
Without unity, there's no way you can make progress. It was just a simple idea. People of different professions, dialoguing on so many things. Then the idea came that let us see how we can impact on humanity. And for over 190 years, I think you celebrated 190 years. 90 years, I heard somebody said it, and you've been doing that same thing. And the club has been growing, in size all over the world.
The governor described the award a recognition of his service to humanity and promised not to rest on his oars. He reiterated his commitment to executing people-centered programs and policies.
One of the things this club is doing is a replica of what government is doing. But there are some little areas where you have to fill the gap, and you take this money from your pocket. So I want to really commend you. So the governor is aware of the fact that you have a project, and therefore he said, I should let you know that government will be part of this project.
The recipient urged the club not to relent efforts in bringing the expected development to the people of the state, as government cannot do it alone.
The present administration in Ondo State will continue to invest in youths as encapsulated in its 8-point redeemed agenda. The state governor, Lucky Aiyedatiwa, will give the hint in Accra while addressing a cross-section of youths at an event organized by Ondo State Ministry of Youth and Sports. The White House correspondent Zimo Ibiemi again covered the event as the report is presented from our studios.
The program with the theme Value Reorientation, Panacea for a Sustainable Development in Ondo State brought together dignitaries including students from various schools, youth organizations and core members. Addressing the gathering, Ondo State Governor Lucky Aiyedatiwa, represented by his Deputy Governor Olajide Adelami, appreciated the Youth and Sports Ministry for putting together the event. The governor said there is no doubt that the 21st century has come with many challenges which the young and old must jointly battle. He called on parents, churches, educational institutions, as well as governments to find a lasting solution to the challenges. The governor said most of the youths have lost their decent livelihood due to their involvement in cultism, robbery, kidnapping, drug abuse, internet fraud, and others.
The importance of instilling the right societal values such as diligence, honesty, truth, and hard work, to mention but a few, in our youths, who are often referred to as future leaders, cannot be overemphasized. These values from the bedrock of morally upright and prosperous society.
According to him, the core values of his administration's agenda is human capital development, which is the foundation of socio-economic growth of the state.
There is no doubt that 21st century has come with many challenges, which both the young and old must confront headlong. How well they contend with these challenges
will to a very great extent depend on whether or not they have the right values of commitment to hard work, dignity of labor, self-discipline, tolerance, patience, humility, integrity, honesty, and others.
The guest speaker, Mr. Jeffrey Abidoye, appealed to the gathering as future leaders to do the needful in bringing the expected development in the country.
The most disturbing development within the last 24 years is that we are deviated from our core values. We are deviated from ethical standard. We are deviated from our belief system. We are deviated from our ennobling, culture and tradition of honesty, of dignity, of decency, of decorum, and of discipline.
Head of Service, Bayo Philip, represented by a permanent secretary, Mrs. Foluke Tunde Daramola, and the Director of Youth, Mrs. Olukemi Okupe, said the essence of the program was to redirect the minds of the youths.
If you take a cursory look at the youth of today, you'll see that so many things have gone amiss in terms of their values, in terms of their attitudes. So many things have gone wrong. And we, as parents, as government, representatives of government and of the people, we need to come up with ways by which we can amend all these things. We realize that oftentimes our culture and the values is being eroded, and the youth, they seem to be lost in it, because you notice that there's election malpractices is the youth.
Some of the students also appreciated the state government, saying the sensitization came at a right time. They enjoined government to provide conducive atmosphere where they can display their talents.
The Ondo State government has temporarily shut down the dump site along the Imafu Road in Accra, the state capital. Commissioner for Environment, Oyeniyi Oseni, said the directive is to ZL Global Alliance, private sector participants, PSPs, and the general public. Mr. Oseni said the reason for the shutdown is due to the poor state of the site having filled up with waste and already being dumped outside the facility. He therefore directed that all waste deposition and waste And on the foreign scene, the UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres is calling for a pause in fighting in Sudan during Ramadan. The conflict has killed more than 14,000 people and more than 8 million people have fled their homes. Diplomats of the Security Council are hoping to vote on a resolution to pause the fighting as early as Friday. Shemsolaju has details.
UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres warned the Security Council that the conflict there could lead to regional instability of dramatic proportions, and he called on the Sudanese armed forces and rapid support forces to lay down their arms.
It is time to silence the guns and raise the volume for peace.
With that, we've come to the end of news at 7. Thanks for watching. Good evening.